car crash cases, defective products, dangerous drugs, injuries, and abuse. Across the state of Alabama, the attorneys, proudly sponsored by the law firm of Hollis Wright, are here to serve you. Your tough legal questions answered by our experts. The attorneys with Josh Wright from the law firm of Hollis Wright and host David Lamb.
Hello and welcome into the attorneys. Appreciate you spending your Sunday evening with us. A great topic of conversation tonight. We're going to be talking about how safe those big rigs are on the open roadway. If you've been next to them, maybe passing them and then passing you, it could be kind of nerve-wracking. We're going to talk tonight about how safe they are, and we welcome you to be a part of it. Throughout the program, you'll see ways where you can call, text, email. We would love for you to join our conversation. Leading our discussion tonight, Carter Clay from the firm of Hollis Wright. Good to see you, sir.
As always, good to see you as well.
Looking forward to this show. This is a topic, whenever you pass those big trucks, sometimes you do kind of wonder, how safe and how secure is what they're carrying?
Well, absolutely. And a lot of times what happens is people make the mistakes of assuming that they are going to encounter something that they don't. In other words, they assume that somebody's going to turn and they don't turn, or they assume somebody's going to stop or come over into another lane. And oftentimes what happens is assumptions lead to accidents. And just recently, we've passed through the holiday season. The Alabama Department of Public Safety issued a report. For the last several years, they have done this campaign where they have monitored accidents over the holiday season to try and issue some statistics and reports to kind of see where we stand nationally and locally relative to accidents, fatalities, and injuries and those types of things.
Right.
And the report was pretty staggering. There was a statistic that really stood out to me, but the date that they did the study was from December 20th to January 2nd. And throughout the state during that time period, there were 17 fatalities throughout the state concerning automobile accidents. But the statistic that really stood out to me was that out of those 17 fatalities, only 4 individuals were wearing their seatbelt at the time of the incident. And that really kind of stood out to me, given what I thought was very good public education, public awareness about wearing certain safety equipment, utilizing seat belts, and taking advantage of the safety features that these automobiles have to offer. So to see that only 4 individuals that passed away out of 17 were wearing their seat belts was somewhat surprising to me, and it really hit home that we really have to do a better job of educating the general public and making them aware and teaching our young children who are about to turn 16 years of age the need to wear seat belts and take advantage of those safety features. And we're very fortunate to have with us here tonight Rachel Buck. She is a local attorney here in town. She works at the law offices of Frank Buck. Frank has been on the show before and is also her father. He has been an attorney for a long time here in the Birmingham community, solely and exclusively representing victims of accidents, representing injured victims, whether it be automobile accidents or some other type of event that led to an injury. She's young, she's energetic, she's smart, she knows that she has big shoes to fill and following in the footsteps of her father. But Rachel, we really appreciate you being with us here tonight. Tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and your area of practice.
Thank you, Carter. It's so nice to be here, and I really appreciate it. I've been out of law school since 2007, and we focus solely on personal injury cases, primarily car wrecks and 18-wheeler or commercial vehicle wrecks. So, unfortunately, we see a lot of fatalities, tons of catastrophic injuries, brain injuries, paralysis, particularly with 18-wheelers or commercial vehicles due to the nature of those potentially lethal giants.
Yeah, well, since 2007, she hadn't been practicing quite as long as I have. But what I wanted to ask you is, I know I think you've been practicing long enough to where, can you tell us, have you seen the dynamics change at all in terms of our roadways being safer, less safe? Are they about the same as they were when you started practicing law? Just give us a little bit of insight on what you think in that regard and kind of where we are and where we need to go.
Well, I think, unfortunately, with the economy, these trucking companies, it's estimated in 2012 it's a $615 billion company, and by 2015 it's estimated to double that revenue in the trucking and commercial industries. And these trucking companies in particular are striving to meet unmatchable deadlines. They're putting pressure on their drivers to drive farther without sleep, to carry heavier loads. Truckers are often paid by the load they carry or the miles, so they're making unreasonable expectations for their drivers. Then coupled with the increase of texting while driving, I recently read a statistic that driving 70 miles an hour and typing a 3-word text message is the equivalent of driving the length of a football field blindfolded. And you're behind an $80,000 truck, I mean 80,000 pound truck, you're talking about some tremendous catastrophic injuries.
And David, truck drivers are not immune from texting while driving, and that was one thing I was going to add to Rachel's comment. I'm glad that she brought it up, is that with the advent of this technology, the mobile devices, the ability to utilize these phones and check email and check the internet and do all sorts of things with these iPhones and other mobile devices, Blackberries and those types of things, it really has kind of, I think, set us back a little bit in terms of the progress that we had made. Because people are texting and driving and checking these mobile devices. And even if the driver's not doing it, the passenger is, and you find that the driver is looking over at the passenger to see what he's looking at. So it has set us back a little bit.
What sort of laws are in place? How is the trucking industry, truckers themselves, how is that regulated, and what sort of laws are in place, not only for the companies, but even in terms of the conduct and the requirements on the truckers themselves? Because you bring up a good point of if the farther I get, and the quicker I do it, sleep deprivation could be an issue, or even the amounts of the load if there's more money for that. So what is in place to regulate the industry and the truckers' conduct?
Well, the federal government and state governments obviously regulate truckers and commercial drivers. There's limits on the time that they can drive. They're only supposed to drive 11 hours a day. It's one of the only professions where you're required to take rest breaks. After 8 hours of driving, they're required to take a 30-minute rest break. They're supposed to have a physical examination yearly to make sure that they're healthy enough to drive a truck. They don't have a health condition that would make them incompetent to drive a truck. Unfortunately, I recently read a statistic that there's about 725,000 trucking companies across the country, and the federal government is only able to regulate 2% of those, or the equivalent of about 12,000. So there's tons of trucking companies, you know, the almighty dollar speaks, and they're getting away with these things because they're truly not able to audit all these trucking companies, unfortunately.
Yeah, but basically every state is going to have its own set of laws that regulate and kind of govern the do's and don'ts of passenger vehicles on the roadway. But when you're dealing with truck drivers, commercial truck drivers, you're dealing with interstate commerce. So long ago, the federal government stepped in because they have jurisdiction and can regulate interstate commerce under the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, and they stepped in and really implemented a broad range of rules and regulations that apply exclusively to truck drivers or really individuals who possess a commercial driver's license, which expands into bus drivers, 18-wheel truck drivers, and those types of vehicles. And it's those laws, the federal laws, that govern truck drivers, and there's just a myriad, great detailed list of regulations.
Yeah, we're off to a good start, but time for our first break. It'd be better if you were to join us. You can call, text, email. You know, some folks say operators are standing by. We have attorneys standing by now to answer your calls, texts, and emails. Join the conversation here on The Attorneys. More after this quick break.
I'm Josh Wright with the law firm of Hollis Wright, and thanks for watching The Attorneys on Alabama's 13. Now, we hope you, a friend, or a loved one never need legal counsel for a case. But if you do, the goal of the show is simple. Provide answers and legal counsel when you need it the most. Now, your call to the show is free, so if you have questions specific to this show or related to other civil legal matters, call, email, or text us to talk with one of our lawyers. You can also follow us on Facebook or Twitter to learn about important legal news that could affect you or your family, or simply contact us by going to alabamas13.com and click on the Attorneys link. Now, we know your time is valuable, so thank you for spending it with us and for watching The Attorneys right here on Alabama's 13.